friend. I would just like to share with you a series of tips that I usually give to my students whenever they're starting to write their literature review, or also when I'm doing my own projects. Um, and maybe it's helpful for you. So we just want to take you through really quickly. Here in Google Scholar, it works initially like any search engine. So you just type in keywords that are relevant to your study. So for example, let's say we type service recovery. And it also works if you type or to look for additional terms, just like you can normally do in Google. So let's say recovery paradox, which is a related term. So if you click on search and then you have your outputs, and then you always get the title of the paper, which is clickable. Then it tells you the authors, where it was published, the year. So those are important things to look at. Here it also tells us cited by. And this is an important indicator of how relevant that work is. So for example, this paper here was cited by 222 people. So this is a good indication of importance. The other thing is if you click on cited by, it gives you a list of all of those papers that have cited that paper. So obviously they are somehow related to the topic of service recovery. So from just by clicking there, you have a bunch of additional articles that you can use for your search. So that's another important thing to look at. So look for the cited by for relevance and also for additional literature. The other thing is it tells us here all 10 versions of this paper. Sometimes it's distributed in different platforms. So you might want to click on all the 10 versions to know where you can find this article. Also relevant, very, very important, is here in the right column, we have the PDF. Whenever it has this link with the PDF, that means that you can have access to the actual PDF of the article for free. If I scroll down, for example, this one here, Service Recovery Paradox, the Success Parameters, there is no PDF link, which means that I cannot have free access to this article. You would need to access the digital library of your own institution for it, okay? So this is the other thing. Another suggestion which I always give to my students is whenever you're diving into a topic and you're trying to search for articles related to that topic, there's so many papers out there, right? So how can you have a good overview of that topic? So usually I always give the suggestion of try to find systematic reviews or meta-analysis, because then in one paper you can see decades and decades of investigations in that topic. And then you can see what makes more sense for you to go back to Google Scholar and search for the individual articles. So for example, if I type here systematic review website localization, okay, gonna click on search, and I have a few articles here. Let me change this to this is it. All right, now this second article that I have here, The Influence of Culture in Website Design and Users' Perceptions, 3 Systematic Reviews. This is the paper that I published in 2016, and it was cited 21 times. So if you click on this article, you're gonna see a compilation of other studies that have looked into cultural localization of websites. So it's a good way to start if that's the topic that you're going for, okay? So that's another thing. Also, if you find an article on a topic that you find interesting, you can always have a look into the author and see what they're doing. So some authors have their own profile. So you can see here, for example, here, my name, which is underlined. So if you click on it, and then you can see the profile of the person, the total number of citations, and the different articles that they have. Okay, so that's also another way to know more about the author or other related articles that author might have. So that's another suggestion. And my final suggestion is about the time frame. Let's say that you are diving into a topic, I don't know, consumer attitude, and you're doing a historical analysis and you're looking, for example, per decades. You're analyzing per decades. So you can here custom search from 1990 to 2000, or any type of any time frame that you would like to set. So let's say here, consumer attitudes. And now we're searching, oops, need to go back here to my custom time. And now click on search. Now I have studies on consumer attitude only between the years of 1990 and 2000. So that's another way also for you to define a certain period in which you want to see what was published within that period. Okay? So in a nutshell, this is what I would suggest to you. Look for those key terms. You can look for the profiles of the individual researchers to know more about what they have done. Have a look here on the right side, the ones that have the PDF that you can have full access to. If they don't have a PDF, then you have to search within your own institution. Yeah, and when you're diving into a topic, don't forget to have a look for systematic reviews, because in one paper you have decades of publications related to a given topic. And if you're doing a historical analysis, don't forget to come here on the right column and define the time range that you want, or since 2018, for example, and you can define a time frame where you want to know what was published since a given date or between a given date. Okay? So in a nutshell, these are the tips that I would have for you. I hope you enjoy. All the absolute best. Take care. Have a beautiful day, and bye-bye.